So that recording has officially started, and tonight I do want to go over all things Travefy automations. And if you have not met me, hi, I am Mari. I am a travel advisor, a virtual assistant, as well as a Travefy brand ambassador. I am passionate about helping you maximize Travefy in your account and in your business, because ultimately the software has helped me reclaim my time without letting go of the high service client touchpoints that I keep in place. Today, I want all of you to leave feeling confident and utilizing automation so you can also do the same thing and reclaim your time. Since I am working solo tonight, I do ask that everybody keep the chat kind, and we will be doing Q&A at the end. So if you do have any questions on the live call, you can put them in the chat and we will go over them at the end together. And again, this is being recorded, so if you feel like you need to just pay attention and not take notes, that's no worries. You'll be able to watch this again and again as needed. So who exactly is this for? Whenever I was thinking about this next webinar, the next training I was doing, I was like, okay, how can people save their time and reclaim their sanity? Because let's be real, so many travel advisors work 2-3 jobs. They're parents, they're busy, they have a lot going on. So this webinar is for somebody who is new to Travefy or somebody who is underusing automations. They want to have consistent client communications without constantly chasing tasks. And lastly, they're ready to have a copy and paste complete workflow that they are able to customize. Today on this call, we will be demoing how to build an automated task list, and I will be giving you the link to copy that into your account. And you're able to copy that as many times as you want so that you are able to practice and utilize it in your business as soon as you want. So what exactly is an automation? An automation is 3 simple parts: a task, an action, and a schedule. So the task is who or what it is assigned to. The action, which there are 5 currently in Travefy's system: a form, email, trip invite, trip chat, and Stripe invoice. I do want to note with that last one, keep in mind it is the Stripe invoice for planning fees. It is not the new invoicing feature that they introduced within the last few months. And then lastly is going to be the schedule part. Whenever you're scheduling automations, you have 2 options. You're able to choose a fixed date, or you can do a relative date. So something that's, say, X amount of days before the trip start date or after the trip start date or end date. So automations are powerful. They are a powerhouse in your Travefy account, and all within the same hood are 3 places you're going to find automations. You will find them in the trip sidebar. So when you click into a trip from the trip dashboard, it is going to be directly under people. And I will go through this directly in the Travefy account, but this is just a basic overview. Next, you will find it in the contact profile. You will find it under the tasks directly next to the contact info. And then lastly is going to be your global task menu. If that word is foreign to you, it's the little clipboard that's next to your icon, your face, in the top right of your Travefy account. The global task menu clipboard hosts all of your tasks, all of your automations for all of your trips, and tasks that are not assigned to a trip. So what's great about that task menu is it's also accessible from the Travefy Pro app on your phone. So let's say you're at the grocery store and you're like, oh yeah, I need to do XYZ for my business, or I need to remember to send that email to my clients. You're able to do so on the go, on the fly. I use it all the time. I have squirrel moments constantly. I literally could not live without that task menu on my phone. So let's go over the building blocks that we're going to use today before we get into this live demo. Most of them are pretty straightforward. The forms are going to be the ones that you customize in your library. So things like the credit card authorization, gathering passport information, them agreeing to terms and conditions, so on and so forth. With the email integration that Travefy has presented, you are now able to also automate messages. So these are great for payment reminders, receipts, checking in for your flight 24 hours before, things like that, where you want to have that high client touch without sacrificing you being at your laptop all the time. I also like to highlight with email messages. I know a lot of us work in the middle of the night. We work at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., or we're in different time zones than our clients. And we know that I mean, I would be grumpy if somebody emailed me at 2 in the morning. So what I like to do is if I'm working at 2, 3 in the morning, I will automate an email to actually send during business hours. And it also helps me keep my boundaries with clients so they understand like Mari is going to respond between her set business hours. That way it really helps me keep a separate line between work and personal. Next is going to be the trip invite. What I like about a trip invite and what makes it different than an email message, because it still goes through email, is that it actually has a button that leads directly to the itinerary which it is attached to. So what I really like for this is if you're delivering know before you go information or app instructions for trip plans. And I've had people ask me this. Some people like to send a know before you go in Canva, but I actually put everything in Travefy all in one place, and I'll automate a trip invite that says, hi, XYZ, I went ahead and added a packing list and other important information for your trip. Your trip is updated in trip plans. And then that way it prompts them to actually go in and look at the information. And even if they don't go in and read it, it still is a CYA moment for you to say, well, I provided that to you. It is also great to send an automated trip invite before they actually depart, giving them instructions on how to use the Trip Plans app, especially if you're going to be using the trip chat or automated flight reminders. So those can be automated. It's fabulous. And I also like to automate trip chats. And this is also directly in the Trip Plans app. It's like little text bubbles, for example. But what I like to automate is a bon voyage. So if clients are, I know, getting ready for the airport at 3 in the morning, they have to be there super early. I am not waking up at 3 in the morning unless I absolutely have to be. I'm gonna set an alarm. I'm gonna kind of take a peek, but I'm not gonna be fully awake immediately 2, 3, 4 hours before they depart. But what I can do is I can automate a message that says, bon voyage, I'm here if you need anything. Don't forget that this is my phone number, emergency contact info, whatever it is. And then lastly, that automation you can do is the Stripe invoice for planning fees. I do not use that one very much myself, so I'm not going to touch on that one heavily tonight. But if you do have questions about Stripe invoicing, I do recommend asking in either the official Travefy Facebook group or the Travefy Tips, Tricks, and Shares Facebook group. Both of them are amazing communities to gather information from. For email automations, though, you do actually have to connect your email inbox. This is a new feature that Travefy came out with, let's see, would have been maybe 4 or 5 months ago. So you're going to go into your settings, email, and then connect your inbox. The benefits are that it sends directly from your email address, which lessens the chance of that email popping into your client's spam folder. And it also keeps all of the emails threaded within your Travefy account, which helps you stay organized on top of your client data. If you're anything like me, my actual Google Gmail inbox gets haywire. So this has been a massive time saver. But you do also have to have it in place for email automations. So go ahead and get that done. Now, some best practices for automations: do always set times for day sensitive messages and make sure that they're set in the time zone you actually want them to be delivered to your clients. So the automations are going to automatically pick up the time zone that your computer is set at or the time zone that you're in. A lot of times it will automate itself. So let's say you have clients that are 15 hours ahead of you. You're going to want to make sure that you set that time difference in your mind and in that automation. I do also recommend you test all of your automations with yourself as a traveler before going live. I do this with myself. I just put my personal email in a Travefy contact. My first name is Mari. My last name is Test, and I run everything through that before actually presenting it to my paying clients. And then lastly, keep your library messages generic, but then personalize them after applying the task list to a trip. And the reason I say that is because it's easy to stay on top of the personalization without sounding like a robot, as long as you keep those initial messages generic. Because you don't want to have in your library messages, hey, Sally, I hope you enjoy your beach trip, and then input that template to somebody going to Disney and completely miss it. Some things not to do: do not forget to add recipients. That's going to be very important because it will inactivate the automation, and do not leave them inactive. So make sure that they have a date as well as a time, and automations will flag you if you don't actually have them active once you open them. So let's go ahead and start live demoing. I'm going to unshare my screen and then share the next tab. So we're going to start with the trips dashboard in your Travefy account. I'm just going to go left to right. That way it keeps everything fresh and clean. But whenever you open up a trip, you have the tasks and automations directly under your people. What you're going to do if you would like to add an automation to the group itself or to the travelers that are on the trip is you're going to click add and then automation. You are able to choose the type of automation you would like, and then you're simply going to go down the form. I do want you to notice here that you're able to choose everyone on the itinerary, or you can choose only specific people. So let's say you have a group leader or a wedding couple and you want to send them specific information, but not the entire group. That's when you would utilize that option. And then always, 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 you're going to assign a date. But this is something that a lot of people miss. They forget to actually assign a time. So do not forget to assign a time to all of your automations. Otherwise, they will remain inactive. And you will notice up here, the big yellow flag, it does prompt to tell you if something is inactive. So do keep that in mind and double check that everything is ready to go before it goes out. What I personally like to do to stay on top of automations and personalization is I block off time. So I'll have in my global task menu multiple trips open, but I will say, okay, Maury, I'm going to sit down on Sunday for 1 hour. I'm going to personalize October 23rd through October 25th automations, and then I just won't touch it for that amount of days. So I just block the time and then move through it. Next, we're going to go directly into our library. I'm going to skip over pages because there aren't any automations that I'm aware of directly in there for now. But this is where we're actually going to spend the bulk of today's webinar because we are going to demo an automated task list together. And this is going to be copyable into your Travefy account, so don't feel like you have to keep up. And if I'm moving too fast, just keep in mind you will be able to come back and watch this. So today we are going to be doing a general trip workflow. And I do organize my library, so I'm going to go ahead and label that. And what I always like to start with for my clients is gathering their traveler information. So I'm going to go ahead and get that from them. I do have a passport upload included because it does have the compliant passport upload option within Travefy, which is secure, and it helps me make sure that I'm inputting the correct client data into travel documents. I do also have a saved message for this. It will also populate into your account. I'm going to go ahead and schedule this for 180 days before the itinerary start date. But again, you will need to go in and customize this for your business, for your clients, for what works best for you. So if you're somebody that usually books out 365 days before or whatever it is, go ahead and change that, or just completely delete the automation and make this a manual task, whatever works best for you. And I do want to also highlight with all of these automations, like I said, it is going to populate them in Eastern time. So keep that in mind as we're working through this. Next, I'm going to go ahead and automate an email message. This one is going to be about travel insurance. I have gone ahead and drafted an email. Right now, we do not have the option to save email addresses, email messages, excuse me. So I've gone ahead and just drafted this one for now. Travefy has mentioned the option of maybe implementing saved email messages. They've mentioned in their group that it is useful. So maybe we will get that option in the future. This one I am going to send out 120 days beforehand. And I'm just going to assign a random time. You will notice a lot of these I will never do on a quarter. And I don't know if it's just my brain or what, but I think when things are on the exact quarter, so on the hour, 15, a quarter after, I think it seems more automated. So having it on a random time, it could just be me. So what I'm going to add next is just a task. This is a manual task for me to check in with the client to discuss travel insurance options if they have not decided at this time. And I'm going to go ahead and put that one in for 110 days because that does give them 110 days to actually go over it gives them 10 days to go over that information before directly questioning or jumping on it. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and automate a travel insurance waiver form. And I know you're sitting here, you're like, Mari, but what if they do actually get the travel insurance? And I'm like, okay, that's no big deal. So what you're going to do, I think I have, yep, I do have one in here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set the automation, and then I'm going to talk about that train of thought. Sorry, I am having a squirrel brain today. Okay, so a client doesn't always ignore insurance. Sometimes they do book it. A lot of times they do book it. So let's say you've already applied this task list to a trip, and on that 110-day mark or 107-day mark, whatever day it is they purchase that insurance, what you're going to do is go into the task list within the trip itself, and you're actually going to manually check off that task. That way the automation cancels itself and it does not push out to them on that 105-day mark. The next task as a travel advisor, the one that haunts me the most, is forgetting to submit final payments to the suppliers. I don't know about you guys, but I have reminders set on my calendars, my written planner, my phone reminders. I have them set on Travefy. I'm paranoid. So I always put this in Travefy, of course. Next, we're going to do a final travel arrangements form. This one is going to be if they want to do any sort of dinner reservations or additional excursions. I believe I have one saved. Yes, perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and schedule this one for 50 days out. We are getting close. We are excited. Let's make sure that they know we are staying on top of their trip and we have it at the front of our brain. And you know, I'm going to be honest, I shared a screenshot the other day where I said this message sent while I was sleeping, and I completely forgot that this automation was sending out. I had no idea what the client had even received, but I know that I woke up that morning and my client was taken care of because I received an email that said, thank you for the information. How amazing. So this final travel arrangements form, went ahead and set that up. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start with automatic itinerary invites. So what I like I said, about the itinerary invites is it does include an actual button to the itinerary, which makes it that much easier. What I'm going to use for this one is a packing list. So like I said, if you add in know before you go information like weather, activities, things like that, this is the perfect opportunity to add that information in. I'm going to put that one at 30 days before, again, a random time. And you can see how quickly we're building this out. We're almost done with our workflow, believe it or not. So next we're going to do, I think I'm going to do 5 days before on this one. And this one's going to be a trip plans reminder. This one's going to be for the app because the app is powerful. I don't know about you guys, my clients love it. And I do actually use it as a marketing point. So when I market to clients, I tell them that they have everything in the power of their hands. So I want to make sure that they know how to use it and that it is available to them. They're able to access it. And if they're not able to before their trip, they let me know because I need to know that information sooner rather than later. So now we have 5 days before the itinerary start date, and that big day before travel, we know how exciting it is, but we also know how important it is to check in for upcoming flights 24 hours before that flight, especially with the new day where flights are being overbooked like crazy. So I know I said I don't like to send things in the middle of the night, but I do for flights. And the reason I do it is because I want them to see that at whatever time they wake up, because like I said, the sooner the better. I want that to be at the forefront of their mind on their travel day. But what you can also do is if you know the exact time of their departure flight, you can go in and you can edit that automation for that specific trip or that specific client to that 24-hour mark beforehand. That way it automates itself at that exact time. It would be comparable to any of the major airlines, how they automate their reminders like Delta to check in 24 hours beforehand. So it's just another additional step that you can take for your clients to let them know I'm here, I've got your back. Next, I'm going to automate an itinerary chat message, and I'm going to do a bon voyage. This one's going to say, I hope you have an incredible trip. I am here if you need anything. I hope this is the best vacay ever. And I'm going to send this one the evening before travel. This is usually when clients start to get a little antsy. They're packing, cleaning the house. Life is crazy. So let's just make sure they know we are here to support them. Next, I'm going to go ahead and set one. This one you're going to notice I do differently. So I'm going to schedule this one for 5 days before the itinerary ends. And this one, I don't remember what I named it, but I'll make sure that I add it in here. But just checking in. How's your trip going? I haven't heard from you. Anything I can help you with? Add that in and automate it, and it's going to push directly into their Travefy account, their trip plans, excuse me. That way, again, you're touching base with them, but you're not having to do that automated work. So now we've left them alone. They've had a great vacation. We followed up with them their day of travel. We said, oh, you have had great flights. Welcome home. But that next day, we're no longer in direct communication every moment of the day because their flights are over. Let's go ahead and automate a welcome home email. And if you want to ask for any feedback in this email, you can. But I do want to also mention that I'm going to automate a form for feedback right after this. So one day after the itinerary end date, we're going to automate that welcome home message. I'm going to send it in the afternoon because some people like to sleep in after a long travel day. And then here is where we're going to do a post-trip feedback. I did get this one directly from the Travefy team. And so this one, I haven't really taken a big look at it, but go ahead and schedule that. I'm going to put it as 3 days after that trip end date, and they can respond if they would like to and get whatever feedback you would like. Once you copy this into your account, you're also able to edit these forms however you need to. So you're able to customize it, add in your Google reviews, your Facebook page, whatever it is. Now, this last automation, and something that I think is really creative, is to set an automation. You're going to do a email itinerary invite, and you're going to set it for 365 days after the trip end date. And you're like, Mari, that's 1 year after they went on their trip. And I'm like, yes, exactly. It's been 1 year. This is the perfect opportunity for you to touch base with your clients, give them a button to the itinerary that they saw and say, what a wonderful trip. I'd love to plan it again, or plan the next one, or whatever that looks like. And one thing that I've kind of played around with this idea in the Travefy tips group is instead of archiving an itinerary and hiding it from clients, because what I like to keep in mind is they've paid for that itinerary. They've paid for their services. They've gone on it. Why are we hiding it from them? When what we can do after they return home is say, on this day, you enjoyed the beautiful beach. On this day, you had a horseback riding excursion. So then when they get this automated message 365 days after their itinerary start date, they're looking back at their memories and they're like, wow, this travel advisor is really good. And she actually really, or he actually really paid attention to me. I should hire them again. So that's an easy way that you can have those automated client touch points. And you'll notice most of this task list is automated. You can go in and fill in any manual task that you want to do, customize it further. If you have messages or emails that you like to send to clients yourself, I do encourage you go from there. I'm not going to put the link in right now. I'm going to go in and make sure that I didn't make any mistakes on this live call before making it copyable so that you guys all have perfect information to your accounts. But whenever I send the recording link and post this to YouTube, I will make sure that you get this information as well. So what I want to highlight next is in the marketplace. And what I love about Travefy Marketplace is you're able to search for task lists, and it's always best if you don't search plural. And some of these are going to be automated. Some of them are not automated. But go through, get an idea of what other advisors are doing. And there are a couple if you put in automate, I believe. So just a few things that you can try within Marketplace just to keep your brain fresh. And then I'm going to unshare my screen one more time. And then I'm going to go over contacts next. So automations within your contacts. This is really nice if you want to send something directly to one person or if it's not tied to a trip itself. So this is especially important for me whenever I'm in the early stages and I haven't sent off a proposal or sent off an itinerary. So right next to contact info is tasks. You're able to add an automation. And again, this is great if you're working in the middle of the night. You're working at 2 a.m. Automate an email that says, hi client, here's the information I wanted to give you. Schedule the date. I'll set it for tomorrow. I'll set it for tomorrow at 8 o'clock a.m. at a decent time. That way I'm not bothering the client or just honoring my boundaries. So that's what I wanted to show in contacts. It does work very much the same as task list as far as actually building out the automations. So you are still able to automate the forms, the Stripe invoices, and the email message. So I guess I said I don't use the Stripe invoicing, but this just came to mind. If you're working in the middle of the night and need to send off that cleaning fee agreement, you could do that as well. Now the global task menu, I'm going to show you. Mine is a hot mess right now because I haven't done much with it. But with the global task menu, like I mentioned, you're able to access this in your Travefy Pro app, and then you can add tasks directly in here, both automated and manual. You're able to filter by the type of task it is, the date that it is due, so on and so forth to help keep you on track. And you're also able to see what's been completed, and you're able to see which automations have gone through. So you can see which automations I have already completed out. So I believe that finishes my live demo. Let me go back over to Canva. We're almost to Q&A. I know it's a lot of information. But like I said, everything is going to be copyable into your account. So don't worry about trying to remember all of that. And if you are new to Travefy or you are thinking about a Travefy discount, you are able to get 25% off for 3 months using my referral code or the link here. And then let's go ahead and start Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I accidentally clicked end call instead of stop sharing screen. So let's go ahead and do Q&A. I'm going to open the chat here. And since I left the call, I lost the chat. I'm so sorry, guys. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and then we can go over them together. Or if you want to unmute yourself, we can also go that way. All right, Beverly, let's go ahead and start with you.
Hi. So you had some things in the beginning where you're like, oh, it's a 180-day automation. So my question is, if you're setting up a trip, obviously that's going to be inside of 180 days. Those automated tasks, if you like add them into that trip, will they go like kind of within 24 hours of your trip creation? Because they're to be automated at a certain time, but obviously we're creating it inside, like at 100 days or 90 days or whatever.
I honestly don't know the answer to that. Part of my brain wants to say that it would remain inactive, but I will double check with the Travefy team on that.
Okay.
But I may also recommend, and I can also go ahead and do it on that form, is cancel out the automatic time if you would like to. That way it inactivates that automation until you assign a time to it. But I will get clarification on that. I'll post it in the Travefy group so that everybody gets it.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I wish I knew that information too. That's a great question. Thank you.
Good, and we'll make them do it. Thanks.
Yeah. So Sherry Sutera, where did you save the templates of the emails or messages? So the messages for the trip trip chats and saved messages, you can actually save in your library. Let me pull that back up. So you can go in your library and you can press on message and you can save a message here. Or if you're working in a task list, you can actually go in and you can save it here as well. And it opens up that same box. And then that way, when you actually give it that title, for example, I had one named Bon Voyage. I would search for Bon Voyage, and that's what actually populates. And I'm sure I can find it if I search it here. And you can also search it directly in your Travefy account and find it. So I hope that one helps. Kathleen, can you explain what Travefy allows us to duplicate versus what must be entered manually each time? Kathleen, would you mind unmuting and elaborating on what exactly you mean with that question?
Sure. So kind of what you just went over, you mentioned that emails can't be saved, but messages or trip plans or trip chat or whatever can. So is that the case? Like if we want to have boilerplates at 180, 100, whatever, all as emails, we have to manually go in every single trip and copy it over like you just did?
No. So I
Okay.
actually practiced with a task list before this call, so I was copying it from my practice task list. But once it's actually put into your task list as a saved email, it's not saved in your library, but it's saved in the task list. So let me go into the trips and I will apply. I'm going to go ahead and just this client free island one, you guys are going to get a funny screen recording soon on that. I lost my train of thought. Oh, but the email. So the email is going to be in here. Let me find one. So I added the task in here. You're going to see that that email automation message did populate into that task list each time.
Okay, thanks. So if we just love clients getting emails and our whole task list was that,
Yes.
then that would be like our standard that we apply to a new trip every time.
Yes, correct.
And everything will be there. Okay, thanks.
Yes. And what, I don't know if I was clear on this. I probably talked myself in a circle, but if you have something generic, for example, if you had a generic message, but let's say, I hope your trip XYZ name, like you templated this out, you can bulk out time, let's say an hour a week to work out the rest of the week's automations. And that's where you would go in and just add in the personalization of that client's name or the trip name or whatever it is to make that email personalized to them. Okay, next question. Heather, is there a way to make a complete task list that you use for every client, or do you have to create the automations for each client? The one I just showed is actually a general task list. So what you can do is you can do it exactly like this and apply to everybody. But I know there are differences between clients, between different types of trips. So what I've recommended to people is to have stackable task lists. That way you're not having to constantly copy information. But for example, you can add a task list for Mexico or St. Lucia or whatever it is. So you can say Mexico task list. And so you can add automations that say, hi client, don't forget to fill out this form for Mexico entry, or the airport in Cancun, expect this, blah, blah, blah. And so what would then happen is you would go back into that trip, you apply your general task list, but then you can also add in your Mexico task list and it would apply it, both of them to the same trip. So then that way it's still staying customizable and you're not having to duplicate that information over and over again. So I hope that was clear. Tiffany, you were told you cannot have yourself as a contact. I use my personal email as my sample. I don't use the email I have attached to my Travefy account. So that's probably where you're hitting that flub. I do have like 5 emails. It's insane. It's so hard to keep up with, but I just use one of my personal emails. Yes, so Keisha asked us how to add our email address to automations. So you're going to go into settings, your account is under linked accounts and then email. I use Gmail, so it's easy, just a click of a button. And then you can add your email signature. For the IMAP accounts, I haven't had to do that, but there are step-by-step instructions and the Travefy team is always happy to help with this chat button down here.
Mary, I don't know where the chat is. I can't find it. It's Lori. But can you show how you import what you're going to send us from the library into?
Yes, that's a great question. Let me get that pulled up. Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome.
Let's see, let me get an example.
And I'll be calling you soon.
Okay.
I've just been too busy, but I told you I want you to help me. So
Yeah, no worries. Life's crazy for all of us, isn't it?
yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to end up doing is going into my library, and I'm going to end up pressing share and publishing it to the web. And when you copy the link and paste it, what it's going to show you is this page. And to copy it into your library, you'll simply press this button and copy to library. And this button leads to my Travefy marketing profile, but it will show all of the information just on a blank screen. If you click on it, it shows you what's included. But once you copy it to your library, it'll copy the saved messages, it'll copy the forms, and it will copy the workflow as well directly into your Travefy account. And then once it copies, it'll prompt you to open it in your library. But if you need to copy it again, you can just refresh the page or open the link again in a new window.
Do you have to go in and change and like put the times in there or?
Only if you want to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Only if you want to customize this. I tried to make this pretty generic so you all can apply it how you want to. So just any small customizations you want to make for your business.
All right, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And where are we going to find that?
I'm going to send it out in the email with the recording link, and then I will also post it in the Travefy group, and I will put it in the caption of the YouTube video when the recording's posted. So it'll be in multiple places.
That is spectacular.
Yeah. I'll try to make it easy for you guys. And like I said, I appreciate you all being here. So I wanted to give you something as a thank you. So next question is Teresa. Are you able to select more than one client when sending an email message in case there are multiple clients, but you didn't want to create a trip? Not that I'm aware of. What I've been doing for that is just sending directly in my email account, because you can still do that, but I haven't found a way to do that directly in Travefy. Alex came in. Thank you, Alex, for the information. Okay, so if a task is overdue when it's first loaded, so let's say that 180-day start date, it's paused and not sent. He said he or she, sorry, intentionally does this, setting 500 days early so that they can space on their own schedule early on. So thank you so much for that information. Very helpful. And then any other questions tonight?
Can you say that again? You said it so fast, I lost what you were saying.
Sorry, I naturally talk quickly.
Yeah.
So Alex came in the chat, and at the very beginning, when I said the 180 days, we're going to send the traveler information form. One of the questions was, well, what if they're booking 300 days in advance? Is this form still going to send out automatically, or is it going to be stuck? And the answer, according to Alex, is if a task is overdue when it's first loaded, it does not automatically send, it pauses. So Alex intentionally sets days 500 days early so that they can space out on it and then work it on their own schedule early on.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And then any other questions tonight? Okay, one from Denise. How does the email in Travefy affect your regular inbox? It should not affect your regular inbox in any way. It's just simply reading the information from my understanding and pulling it out of your direct email account and then filtering out what it needs for Travefy based on the contact info within Travefy. I do not know what a DKIM record is or anything like that, so I don't know. Technical questions, I can go so far, but if you go in this little bubble down here, they will definitely help for it. And Beverly, yes, I do work as a VA for Travefy services. On that link that you're going to get for copying that button that says contact me, the link for my consultation calendar is on there, or you're also always welcome to send me an email. I'm happy to set up a call. So I think that's all of our questions, unless anybody wants to unmute and ask anything before we disconnect.
Thank you. This was phenomenal.
You're welcome. Kathleen said, what is my favorite automation? I really like and get excited about the lead up to trips, and I am a type A over informer. So my favorite automations are those emails. And I don't remember who it was that asked like if my entire task list is emails, because I send them out constantly. That's me. So I actually love the email automation because I'm able to send it out on the go and be asleep when they go out, which is perfect. So I hope that helps. And I'm really glad this was helpful for all of you guys. And that Facebook group, if you're not in it, Travefy tips, tricks, and share, I will get that posted in there hopefully tonight with the video recording, and I'll send the links out to everybody as soon as I have it up as well. So if you have any questions for me after this, let me know. I'm always happy to help, and I hope you all have a great rest of your night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.